Hi, it's Mr. Townsend here. So this is a video in a series on science, Introduction to Atomic Chemistry Science, and this in particular helps with those of you who want to get on top of NCEA Level 1 Science. So what we're going to look at today is electron arrangement. Where are electrons found in an atom? And how is the electron arrangement worked out or calculated? So here's an example of a diagram of an atom. This is the lithium atom, atomic number 3. So it has 3 protons, these black circles in the middle, and 3 electrons. Now you can see the electrons are placed in areas called shells. They are a circular path away from the nucleus, and we start with an innermost shell and then we go to the next shell. Now here's an example of another atom. This is phosphorus. It is atom number 15. Now if I was wanting to make this a simpler diagram and I want to be able to calculate electron arrangement, the number of neutrons in the middle doesn't matter. So in the nucleus here, I'm just going to write down the number of protons. I'm going to put a wee positive charge here to denote that they're positive. I'm now going to put the electrons into the shells that surround the nucleus. So there are 3 shells that I've shown here. Shell 1 is the closest shell to the nucleus. Then as we go out, we number them shell 2, then shell 3. Now, each one of these shells has a certain number of electrons you can place in it. Shell 1 you can place 2 electrons. Shell 2 you can place 8 electrons, and shell 3 you can place 8 electrons. Shell 4, which I don't show here, you can put up to 18 electrons. So when placing electrons into the shell, what we do is we place them into the closest shell, or the shell with the lowest number of electrons first. And remember, the first shell, shell 1, can only hold 2 electrons. So we put 2 electrons into the first shell. We have 13 left now because we've used 2. We put 8 into the next one. So the shell actually has to be filled. I have to put my 8 in this next one before I can put them into the third shell. And now I've used 2 and 8. I have 5 electrons left, so I put those in the last shell. Now if I want to write down my electron arrangement, what I do is, the first thing I do is I put down here the, what would I say? We put down the atomic symbol, which is P for phosphorus. I put down a colon, and then I write level 1, which is 2, comma. The second level, there are 8 in that, comma, and then the next level, which is in this case the valence, or the last level, 5 electrons. That is my electron arrangement. And it's a simple way of showing this diagram above, because anybody who understands what's happening in the chemistry here knows that P is atom number 15, so it must have 15 protons. We know that the first number is for shell 1, 2 electrons. Second number is shell 2, 8 electrons, and the third number is shell 5. So this is a quick simple way for us to write down a representation of an atom. This is how we might see a representation if we were doing NCEA Science. So again, the nucleus in the middle, we put 13 plus, and the electrons are represented by an E with a negative next to it, because they are negative. The outside shell, as I said in the last slide, is called the valence shell. And the electrons in the outside shell are called the valence electrons. Now this is a really important concept because it is the outside shell that comes in contact with any other atoms. So they are the most important electrons in the atom, and they determine how an atom will react in chemical reactions. Okay, thank you for listening to this. This has been my video on electron arrangement. Look out for my other videos to do with atomic chemistry. See ya.